Welcome. Welcome to Pop On to Pop Off on a Sunday. Was it the 22nd? Jack Willard here with you. It's kind of a dingy Sunday, but it's cooled down nicely into the lower 70s with a breeze. But Karen will say the dew point is no good. It's no good.
24th.
It's the 24th. Where is my life going? Before you know it, summer's over. They're already saying it. They've already got the Halloween candy on the shelves. Forget back to school. They started that in late July. Of course, in some places, I know, like in Texas and quite a few different places, they go back to school in mid-August. They're already in school in Georgia. They're already in school. So here it's going to be earlier than it's ever been. I think it will technically be in the last few days of August that the kids go back to school, and then they'll be off for the Labor Day weekend. Hi, Neil. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys. William Brown is here. Hi, Mr. Jack. Welcome. Linda Schuyler is here. Hi. And what was so amazing yesterday is that we did this pop on to pop off from the other side of the living room. First, I showed you Karen's grandfather, her father's father, and correction, that's not William, that's George Reed. William was Uncle Bill, her father's brother, correct? Or was that
my father's brother?
Your father's brother, right? Karen is doing her. She can win $1 million over there on the computer, but it's all pretend. And you're going somewhere?
Yeah.
She keeps me worried. But of course, we all have to take responsibility for our own reactions, don't we? Well, you probably were, Neon. Looks like I was the first one to comment. Stephen Spielich, howdy, Jack. How are you, Stephen? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to try to do Worldwide Ramblings tonight at 9 p.m. We tried last night, but it just wasn't in the cards. I was getting more and more exhausted, and, I don't want Andy to have to do more than his allotment. But tonight, Karen is going to go upstairs about, 10 minutes to 8 to watch her.
9.
I thought the show started at 8.
9.
Okay, that's more of a challenge because I got to be on at 9. We'll work it out. This is, I'm trying my best. But 90 Day, I was pretty sure it was 8, and at 10 o'clock we used to watch Dark Shadows. I think that's how I remember it. But what do I know? It was never 9 to 11 because we always had an hour of Dark Shadows. I know the show goes on.
8 o'clock, okay.
It is 8, right? Yeah. But the show goes on to 11 because there's another version of another cast of clowns. I mean, very interesting people with how can I make my world better type people,
8
to 10. 8 to 10, right. Uptown Abbey. Well, that's cool. You're an uptown girl? How are you? Where are you exactly? See, with a name like Abby, I assume you're in the UK. Because of what? Downton Abbey? Is that how you say it, Karen?
What?
Downton Abbey?
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey. Why are we Downton Abbey? Has she made poor choices? Haven't we all? Haven't we all? Leaning towards Bob Joyce. LOL. Hey, whatever is going on in someone's head, whether it's yay or nay, That's their right to believe that. And of course, since I speak of possibilities, I have mentioned, I've even got a video on maybe Bob Joyce is not Elvis, or is he the son, which never gets a big response. Um, and then more popular these days is he was Vernon's love child, maybe after Gladys passed away, um, maybe then. So there's all kinds of possibilities, but we've come up with about 8 dozen so-called coincidences why Bob may be Elvis. Now I've been watching the competition, and at first it seemed like they were going to just focus on you know faith in Jesus and not do any of the Elvis what ifs anymore. But that didn't last too long because you do that, your views turn to doo doo. I just say it how it is. He says he does that, and I think I do it more because if somebody asks me a question in real time about what's your views on Israel, I'm not going to say, well, I have a separate channel for that. There are things I don't talk about here. Imagine if George Magazine said we're only going to talk about one thing, but we've got 6 other magazines that would cover what you're interested in. Joe Rogan, any podcaster that's been successful talks about a plethora of issues. And if you're worrying about offending people, one thing I've realized over the few years we've been doing live is sometimes, and I think it happened a little bit yesterday, sometimes the trolls, the uh, the uh, the funsters, whatever, um, are good for business. They increase views. I remember one time doing a live talking about the violence in New York City down at Festival Square, which is now called John Degnan Square, and I thought, well, this will get maybe 1,000 or 2 views. And I look at my phone before I've left the tree after we've done the broadcast. Karen held the camera for that one, and we did this thing about that. And it's 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. I got to get home because I'm so stupid. I don't know how to, anymore on this phone that I have now, turn on the monetization for the video, complete the process that leads to monetization. So I had to get home quick because I'm not sure they pay you if you've got it off when those hits are coming and you do it a little later like I did yesterday. So we did our live and we talked about the Bob Joyce Praise Service. Please watch that video, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. And I can miss comments when I'm talking because I can't always have my head down, but I try to find them. I do make an effort to do that. So we did this, and I thought, well, there's no thumbnail. It's just my little cartoon mug. I don't have a headline. It just says the virtual Church of the Disillusion was live. This will probably get 649 views. No hurry to get over there because I'm concerned about Karen, and not leaving her for a long time. As long as she promises to sit, we're okay. And my goodness, I looked and it had 3,400 views a few hours later. I said, I haven't hit the monetization button. I never thought this would do this. We're an expanding audience. If others can toot their horn, I will toot mine as well. But it really all comes to you. It all comes to you because without you, I'm just another crazy guy in a small room talking to himself. That's how that goes. Hello, Sandra Horn, or would you prefer Sandra? Is it Donald Trump? Well, I'm probably in mid conversation here. I would say Donald, says Jay. We're having a debate on something. Hi, Marianne Rossi, not Donna Rossi. What do you think was, who do you think was, yeah, okay. So, as I say, when we come on, I won't talk to you if you're going to be, third grade, I won't do that. If you violate uh, YouTube policies, that can be addressed later. Um, I don't care whether you like Trump or not. We're celebrating. We had to to get through 4 years of a president that barely knew where he was, couldn't find the way off the stage, was messing in his diaper sometimes when he was on foreign trips. And when he was cognitive, he was never a bright guy. But when he did have his wits about him, both as a senator and a vice president, it appears that in two countries he committed treason. Having Hunter on the board when Hunter couldn't be on the board of Wendy's. So and now we have these two expensive beach houses. Joe Biden has, but he also has terminal cancer. So what can I say? What can I say? We had to deal with this 4 years. It wasn't just Biden and Harris, who has the depth of a kiddie pool, I don't believe, but it was the whole cabinet. It was the whole cabinet. So it was horrific. It was horrific to see that happen to America. And now we're on the upswing, and I feel good about that. But when we do worldwide ramblings, we don't get this serious because people like to have a good time, and it's like a family there. And hopefully at 9 o'clock tonight, we'll get to do one. And Louis Anderson. Some people say John Candy. Well, I've lost weight. I don't think John Candy or Louis was 228 pounds. I don't think they were. I think they were more. So, but I've learned you can fight that Ozempic. Okay, you can't eat a whole plate of spaghetti, fine, but you can eat a whole box of those Junior Mints. Max, where are you from? Ah, yes. Are you a fan of that show? Are you a fan of Better Call Saul? That was the reboot, right? Um, I love Bryan Cranston. Love the actor who played Saul. Can't remember his name. Um, so when we come on at these odd hours, we do get people that we never hear from. Whoops. What did I do? Okay. Um, so we do get that. I just want to tell the regular people, because over there we can just hit the button if need be, because that's what people in the regular audience want. Um, we do get strange people during the day. You would think you would get it late at night. And they tend to chase some of the people away, but not you, Neo. I see you've got thick skin, and I like that. I know, and I can't do anything about it. It's not like I'm in the studio and I can instantly block and stuff like that. I can't do it. So, what can I tell you? As I said, Neo, if you were listening, trolls can be good for business, can be good for views. I mean, I never expected to get 3,400 views in a few hours on a midday chat from my phone here in the living room. I never expected that. It's a good one. We talk about the praise service with Pastor Bob from the Bank OZK Arena. We talked about Lyle Menendez and his brother a little bit. There's more to say about that. And also, we talked about Ghislaine Maxwell and her saying that Donald Trump and President Clinton were not on Epstein Island, that both of them really were always a gentleman. So, but we also talked about, her motivation. So there's more to say about that, but I'm not going to go into the same topics unless there's a question or what have you. You demand. Well, if I got a friendly voice here that's not a regular Max, I'm happy because it doesn't look like I have too many more. But that's all right. That's all right. I will ask Jesus to forgive me for violating YouTube rules. No, they just they know your IP number. If you get too outrageous, they know it. You know, they're very they're very matter of fact about that. Um, Certain things like so half of Congress. Well, we got the majority, and I think we're going to hold on to it because for some reason they're not. The Democratic Party is essentially over. It's now the progressives and the Republicans. The few Democrats that are left are are spineless and they don't want to lose their seat, so they're just letting it happen. We have politicians that are actually Chuck Schumer hasn't made a formal endorsement of the gentleman Zoran Mondami, who's running for New York mayor and could possibly win. Um, they don't really want to make an endorsement of someone who said outrageous things against Jewish people and wants to defund the police and bankrupt New York City further than it's already bankrupt. They don't really want to do that, so they're caught between a rock and a hard place. But Pocahontas had no problem going down there and smiling at him and putting her arm around him, and it was no surprise. No surprise. So, Mr. Netherlands, well, that's cool. Are you really there? And what's life like in the Netherlands? It's interesting that most of the people we're getting are new, which can be good and bad. Good and bad. Rodney Dangerfield was one of the funniest guys ever. He was just nonstop funny. Great lines, like I got home from traveling Las Vegas and what have you, and I got in the cab and I wanted to relax a little while, so I told the cab driver, "Take me where the action is." He took me to my house. What's wrong, Willie Loomis? What's the matter, Willie? Come on here and be on the live. Oh, Willie's going that way. I'm going to try to show you Willie, but he's, got a mind of his own. No, I know, because you're that way. He went on mommy's lap. Thank you, Max. I hope you'll join us tonight at 9 o'clock East Coast time for Worldwide Ramblings. So the Netherlands is where you are, huh? Rodney Dangerfield. I wanted to go ice skating. My father told me to wait till it gets warmer. Mm-hmm. He had a million of them. More likely to watch Monty Python's Flying Circus. I hope that doesn't mean instead of me, Neil. As I said, Sandra, trolls can be good for business. They can increase views, but when we do Worldwide Ramblings, the core audience doesn't want that, and so we don't go with it. People that believe, for example, that Bob Joyce could be Elvis they don't mind someone saying they don't believe that, but they don't want to be berated for it. We have a pretty fun environment. The dabbler, I know about that. Hard to commit to something. You dabble. Sometimes the fact that you only dabble is a good thing. So I don't think you're going to ever change your views on Trump. As we like to say here, Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. And very smart people, like my friend Gene, can have it. I won't say his last name, but it's just unbelievable. The man could literally find a cure for cancer and he still wouldn't be liked. So, we don't care, Fortunately, the progressives are doing everything they can to make sure. I think they're down to 19% in popularity. You don't win the midterms with 19%. Jasmine Crockett stands a good chance now of losing the next election. Whereas a wonderful black woman like the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Lieutenant Governor Sears, She's trailing 6 points right now, something like that. So Virginia, come on, this woman is outstanding. She deserves to be the next governor because you can only be governor in Virginia for 4 years. Then you can run again for another 4 years, but you got to wait. You got to wait. There's got to be that gap. You can't be governor for 8 years in a row in Virginia, which is strange to me. Strange to me. Seems like Youngkin just started, and now it won't be that long before he's out of there. But we get a good crowd on Sunday nights. Sometimes we usually do Saturday nights, but I just couldn't swing that last night. We'll talk about Pastor Bob's sermon and what have you. But the competition was talking about the possibility of him working probably remotely from California for George Magazine. Now, I know that Gene Ho, who does wonderful lives because he's funny, brief lives, don't ever confuse the ability to do a good live with, some incredibly powerful, gifted speaker. It's two different things. It's two different things. That's why when Russell Brand started doing a daily show, he didn't start with a daily show, but he became a breakout star because people said, man, this guy's good. He's doing his homework, and he's presenting it very well. He's witty. He knows the issues. He's making points that are kind of different from what some of the others make. And he quickly became a star in his podcast. If you even want to call it a podcast, because it's a daily show. There's a difference from what I do in a podcast, But he has a good tech crew. He has people zooming in to do interviews and what have you. And that's a talent that not everybody has. I don't have that level. But when you see something like that, same thing with Candace Owens, who I don't always agree with these days, or Tucker, who I love and don't always agree with these days. And of course, the king of the podcast, Joe Rogan, who talks about everything, by the way. I would never want to say to someone that we can't talk about a subject that's important to you, because there's some things I don't say on this channel, tune to my other channel or something. I don't buy that. George Magazine, as I said, talks about everything and anything. But anyway, if you work for George Magazine, what I thought of right away is, well, that's a good way. That's a good way for there to be one less Bob Joyce's Elvis programmer out there. If you can't be that blatant if you're working for George Magazine. You can make little jokes like Gene Ho does, so that's different. 33 watching now, 13 likes. Please hit the like button if you like anything at all. And again, we're dealing with mostly new people here. But yeah, here's the deal about magazines. Here's the deal about print. What I would love to have an interview with Gene Ho on, and we have interviewed each other. He put up the interview where he's interviewing me again. You can find that here on YouTube. But also I have a video which did well of me interviewing him about George Magazine Live 2024. I know he has made reference to there is evidence in biblical end times that George Magazine will play a role, and he explains that. I would love him to come on and explain it here to me and to our audience, because you would need that in 2025. You would have to have the hand of God. The reality is, if you start doing research from the 1980s to now every few years, the people that are physically picking up a magazine and reading it has plummeted dramatically. Same with newspapers, same with newspapers. It has plummeted dramatically. That someone is going to reach to their coffee table, pick up a magazine, and read all the articles that you put a lot of work into. Um, this is a whole different culture, addicted to the cell phone, the iPad, so what newspapers like the New York Times have had to do is they've had to expand their video platform dramatically. And when you do that, you've got to have somebody really good that's going to talk about, and it's going to be able to captivate the audience. It can't just be comedy. It's got to be someone who's powerful, very, very powerful, powerful speaker. Joe Rogan just surprised everybody because he's laid back, he's laid back. He doesn't come on making big speeches or whatever. The best part of Tucker Carlson's show on Fox to me was always the first 15 minutes. Tucker wrote his opens and they loaded them into the teleprompter, and he delivered them so naturally you would think he wasn't reading his own words, but he was. And that was the best 15 minutes, and I missed that. Let's see here. Jupiter's Realm saves me. How are you? One of our regulars. We got a bunch of new people, but I don't think that's a bad thing, And you don't want to judge somebody. Joe Friday is even here. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. It's Chevy Chase less. Well, Chevy today is, way past his prime. But you just reminded me that at Chiller Theater in Parsippany, New Jersey, in October, Cousin Eddie's going to be there, Mr. Randy Quaid. I'd love to see that. His line will be extremely long. It always is. He's one interesting dude, whether he's talking about conspiracy theories and you're wondering, has he got it all upstairs? He was obviously had trouble getting back in the country for a while, and he lost. I think this will come back, but he sort of got he got on the no-fly list of casts for a movie. He was in Independence Day, besides all the vacation movies and what have you, and lots of other things. And the next thing you know, he's pretty much broke, and he's in Canada trying to get back into America. So cousin Eddie, Randy Quaid, will be at the Chiller Theater in New Jersey in October. Also, the cast of Back to the Future, not who you think, neither one of them. But I think the original girlfriend of Marty McFly, or was it the second one? I think it was the original, because if you know from the time of Back to the Future 1 to 2 and 3, it was a different actress. It was a different actress. She's going to be there. Also, Marty's brother, who worked at McDonald's. But then when in the new reality, he was a successful businessman with a suit and briefcase, he's going to be there. But the star of that show at the Back to the Future reunion in Parsippany will be a rock and roll pop legend. Huey Lewis is going to be there. Yeah. You don't get much better than that. Now, if you were born in 2005, you won't appreciate that. But if you were born in the 70s, you will appreciate Huey Lewis, who doesn't sing much these days anymore. He's got hearing problems and what have you. But he will definitely get a big response and will bring everybody over to the Back to the Future table. There's so many stars that are, like in these cheap horror thrillers. You wonder, they don't charge much. They're not charged to be there. You have to pay an admission price, of course. Chiller Theater's got to make something, and there's lots of merchants selling stuff in the hallway, and they are charged for that space, of course. That's how Chiller makes their money. But they don't pay the stars anything to be there, and the stars don't have to pay them anything to be there. Joe Friday. I loved Dragnet with Jack Webb and Harry Morgan. Um, just loved it. Loved it. I remember them coming into the apartment where the guy is not only smoking pot, he's growing it too. He's got pot plants. Do you have to go somewhere?
Upstairs, I'm gonna ask Andy to take me.
Okay. Well, did you ask him?
I'm going to.
All right, because you can't go alone, and I'm going to have to cut this.
Don't worry.
But because this is my responsibility, Andy's not sleeping though, so that's good. And tell him he won't be on camera because it's facing me. I know he'll worry about that. Buc-ee's for life. I love Buc-ee's, but I don't know what it has to do with Tibet. We want to free Tibet. Well, there's other things that are on the list ahead of that. But yeah, so they'll be there, and there's a couple of other people of note that'll be at Chiller Theater. Not the people that were there last year, but there's a few others, and you kind of feel sorry for the people that, because every star that you visit at Chiller Theater, you have to pay for that picture with them. You have to pay, and your cane. Don't forget your cane. You got the cane? Yeah. Okay. See, I'm like a mother hen here. Karen's recovering from neck surgery. They have good sketches about spam and parrots. Neo is a creator, and he's a puppet master, and he would know about stuff like that. You would have had a nice conversation with my second wife, but I'm banned. She even banned me from the state. Anyway, loved her, and we had some good times too, and a successful business for a while, which I had a lot to do with, I might say. But that's all right. So sometimes Chevy Chase has appeared with Randy Quaid, but not this time. I don't know how well Chevy is, And Hamster Boss is here. We have 28 watching. Yeah, we do get. It's so interesting. Whoops, I did it again. Hey, Cajun Calvin, help me. I don't have too many of the regulars here. I got a lot of new people. I don't know if they'll become loyal fans. Politics. A parrot with a watch, says Neo. Sonic LeBlue. Sonic LeBlue. He made me think of Sonic. They don't even pretend that they have healthy food at Sonic, right? It's just junk, and more junk. So what can I tell you? Thank you, Neil. Happy. Yeah. Apparently you're not too happy. That's okay. I don't watch things that I don't like. Like today I started watching Howard Kurtz on Fox, and he's got Clay Travis on. I'll listen to Clay Travis all day, and often listen to the Clay and Buck radio show, noon to 3 Eastern, on like 500 radio stations. See, liberals or progressives, as they are now, never do well on the media. They never get ratings. Never happens, whether it's MSNBC, which is going to change their name to MS Now. It'll still be crap. And you got to do more than change your name. You got to change your entire personnel. By the way, Joy Reid on her YouTube, she's on YouTube now. She's complaining that we crowned Elvis Presley the king. Oh, yeah, it's got to be a white guy. She is, oh my goodness, she is, you know, I guess it's fashionable to be a racist against white people now. That's just the way it is. Um, Caleb Welsh, Trump 2028. Well, Caleb, welcome. I don't know where you're watching from. I always like to know. Um, and maybe you believe that, and maybe you don't, but he seems to be indicating these days that he's going to step aside and make way for Vance. He wants Vance Rubio right now. That's what he wants. I love Ron DeSantis. He was always, he really, I didn't realize Trump was going to be so powerful as he was. And uh, uh, I quickly got on the Trump train again. But I love Ron DeSantis, and he would make a great president of the United States. And I don't know. I think maybe his wife is going to run for governor in Florida, and he'll want to be near her. So it's looking like his role is going to be the next podcaster, if I had to guess. So Sonic, of course, they are losing America. The progressives are losing America. They seem to be almost deliberately, and violence is a real possibility. They threaten it all the time. They pretty much come out and say it. So Victor Davis Hanson, talk about powerful speakers. George Magazine, if you had Victor Davis Hanson as your main speaker on your video platform, that would be a get. That would be a get. Just, of course, they are losing America. Yeah. So I don't think that would take an act of Congress, and I don't think he's going there. I think Trump is aware of the fact of his age, and he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. The Dabbler, pretty slow for Operation Warp Speed, but credit given. Are you kidding? He closed the border in 3 months. In fact, it was probably a lot sooner than that. He has cleaned up America. He's working on Washington, D.C. He's talking about 14 other states. Illinois is definitely next. They're going to fight that. Got that mayor of... they found someone worse than Lori Lightfoot. I don't understand that. They don't like him. He's not popular there. But why did they elect him? The guy is clueless and very disrespectful, like the governor of Maryland. We about 10, 15 years ago, we would have never had a governor of a state like the great state of Maryland speak so disrespectfully about the president of the United States. They would make the point that they disagree with him and everything, but this guy came off like gangster. And it's a shame. It's a shame that that's where we've gotten to, but that's exactly where we are. So, well, Neo, it's all new people. That's today's surprise. My love does it good. Hockey, Miss Hockey 92. Hi. I'm in a sea of new people, and they're not very friendly for the most part. Good afternoon, Jack, and all. I hope everyone is having a good weekend. I am glad to hear Karen is home and resting when she can. Yes, and of course, it is true that she does have to get up and move around, because that's part of the recovery process. But it always makes you a little bit nervous, and you got to be real close by, Glenn Youngkin, Republican Party, Virginia. Are you a fan or not a fan, Sandra? So Miss Hockey 92 is one of our regulars. And so what we're going to try to do, Hockey 92.7 FM, is we're going to try to do Worldwide Ramblings tonight at 9 o'clock. Karen will be upstairs watching 90 Day Fiasco. Which is beyond my capabilities to watch that show. It's just too much. It's too much. Rita, lovely Rita Maid. Hi, Jack and everyone. I finally was awake enough to watch you last night, but missed you live during the day. Yeah, well, I forget where you live and I forget your time zone. I'm sorry you're getting bored, Sandra. As I say, we had 3,500 people yesterday and a midday, so somebody likes me. Somebody likes me. And, we're about to hit 11,000 subscribers. I'm a small fish in a big pond. I know the competition has twice the subscribers because that's through tech. That's through slick tech, and I'm more of a chronological storyteller. Been speaking into a microphone since 1977. So, yes, I'm not that far away from 70 years old. And the first day of spring, I'll be glad it's the first day of spring, but I'll be saying, my God, I'm 70 years old. What happened when I was a permed haired disc jockey playing the hits at a big castle before I was married and lonely women calling me up on the request line? What happened to those years? They're gone. Well, I've certainly never heard of that handle before. So you must have been in the shadows. Christopher Ray. Christopher Ray. Someone like me. Everyone's talking in code here. Joe Biden spent more money in the 4 years that he was president. He spent it to the point where the deficit rose by more than $1 trillion. And he was completely, in my opinion, and in the opinion of far more than half the country now, not up to the job. And his cabinet was awful. But you're never going to like Trump, and that's okay. That's okay. When I was young, I was a Democrat, loved George McGovern. I know you don't know these people, and Hubert Humphrey and Senator Ted Kennedy. By the way, yesterday I referred, instead of saying JFK Jr., because Gene Ho talks about whether JFK Jr. is still alive. If I said he was, would you believe me? And yes, he's even said, if I said Bob Joyce was Elvis, would you believe me? And he indicates no, but in the second one, I think he may be mistaken. I think he may be mistaken. There are people that believe JFK Jr. is still alive. I know Gene Ho does know things that we'd be very interested in hearing, but he's not going to tell them to me. You do it on your own platform or you don't do it at all. You don't do it at all. Some things you can't say. As I say, if you start working for George Magazine, you got to tone it down. So, obviously. Let's see. Okay. I'm not going to read things out loud that I don't know about. George F. Kennedy founded Magazine. George F. Kennedy. You mean the movie actor? No, the fact that there was an F in there means it would have to be, he had to be George F. He just couldn't leave the F out because there was already a George Kennedy that was a public person. I know that works with actors. I'm not sure if, say, I don't think it works if you're, say, a politician in Alabama and you have the name Kevin Spacey if you can't be Kevin Spacey. Interesting that I picked that name. Hello, David. Are you a friend or foe? We got a lot of foes here. Yeah, I can see you're in that category. So, what can I tell you? Aaron said hi. Hello, Aaron. It's funny when they just say hi, it's like past tense. Christopher Ray, is Michael Fox going to be there? No, it's really getting tough for him now. His ability is less. He could go in a wheelchair and what have you. He doesn't want to do that, but he does use a wheelchair a lot now, and he is not going to be there. And neither is Doc. Neither is Christopher Lloyd. Doc has done a lot of those kind of things, though. He shows up sometimes in costume with the DeLorean. In fact, last year at Chiller Theater, and I'm sure it'll be this year too, the DeLorean, there was more than one, there was like three. One of those DeLoreans that they used in the movie will be at Chiller Theater outside. They'll be guarding it. You might be able to get your picture taken, but you can't get in it, that kind of thing. And so it's just the brother of Marty McFly, his girlfriend. I think it's the first Back to the Future 1 girlfriend. And Huey Lewis, the big find for that. That'll draw people over there big time. And of course, other people they'll want to see. Everybody that was in Back to the Future was beloved by generations of people, generations. Last year, we got to see it. We went to Chiller Theater. And of course, the heck is his name? What is Biff's name? What's Biff's name? I know his name like I know my own. He was there, and he had a long line of people. John Cusack was here. He pointed at me like, no, you don't, when I snapped a picture of him from the side of the convention room. If you're not going to get online and pay for it. And since then, John Cusack has said so many outrageously crazy things. I'm glad I didn't pay. Are you the Doc Brown? Well, I love Doc Brown, but no, I couldn't invent the things he invented. He was incredible. It's just as he was incredible in My Favorite Martian and a ton of movies. And he's still out there. He's still out there, which is really, really nice. So Hockey Night 2, talking to Sandra. Who knows? Who knows if that's what was meant. So I just wanted to let the core audience know that we'll be live tonight at 9 o'clock if all goes well. It's not etched in stone, but that's how it looks now for Worldwide Ramblings. Don't want to make this too long of a broadcast. We always welcome friends to the show. Don't mind if someone disagrees, but they got to do it in a respectful thing. If people come on to hammer in their point over and over again, that doesn't go well with the core audience. And I have to respect the people that have been with me for years, and want a fun environment. They don't want buffoonery, unless it's coming from me, because I'm so witty sometimes. Yeah, right. All right. That's all for now. Thank you for joining us for Pop On to Pop Off. Bye-bye for now.